Hey, Sean, I'm a little lonely sometimes. And it's okay. And you probably are too. And it's okay. As I've been on a journey these past really like 10 years, 10 years of trying to focus on myself a little bit in a more thoughtful way, meditating, doing yoga when I can, when I think of it. And it's been through waves of wellness, but my life has been through so many different phases and groups of people, and from college to ultimate frisbee to Parched, my ultimate frisbee team that became so much more than that, to now the filmmaking people that I hang out with, and then as all of them got full-time jobs, sort of a new wave of filmmaking friends and creators, and now parents. As my son goes to school and I'm friends with the parents of other kids in his class, from group to group, there's always a sense that I don't belong. There's always a sense that I'm a guest there, and that everyone else is like, when I leave the room, is like, okay, Sean's gone. And I've thought this was just something about me for as long as I can remember. But I switched schools once when I was in the middle of grade school, and then struggled to make friends for a little while, and absolutely felt that. And there are people who feel this a lot worse. There are people who are immigrants from different places who have much greater obstacles to overcome than I have. But the symptoms of those things, the consequences of those things can be the same. And it sort of takes away a bit of your confidence and you feel lonely. And as much as I've talked about and read about and studied mental health, and my own anxiety and depression, loneliness is this new thing. And my mind was blown. For my birthday, Jesse got me a book that I didn't start reading until a week ago. And in Sean's YouTube channel fashion, I'm like 2 chapters in and blown away by it and thought, let's make a video before I read the rest of it. But right now I'm hopped up on it. And the first chapter was sort of this pivotal moment. And the book is Together by Dr. Vivek H. Murthy, who was the 19th Surgeon General of the United States. And it's called Together, The Healing Power of Human Connection in a Sometimes Lonely World. In the first chapter, yes, there's a whole lot of stuff about the actual links, the researched and confirmed links between the feeling of loneliness and absolute, like actual tangible physical symptoms and things that happen to us very naturally, that are in our nature, that happen to everyone, emotions that we all feel, and how loneliness can affect your lifespan. It can affect your health, and addiction can often be linked to and correlated with loneliness. And as I've seen my own tendencies over the past couple of years, and this book even says in the beginning, like, he finished this book right before the pandemic, and then writes this sort of acknowledgement thereof of like, this is also true, and what a test of loneliness and what connection can do than a global pandemic. And the science aside of some of the things that I felt very, very tangibly myself, and that link to what loneliness is, that's all impactful. And I'll talk about that for just a second. But the bigger thing in all of that was that in the past 10 years especially, we as a society have done an amazing job of starting to normalize mental health, depression and anxiety. We talk about it. There's accommodations made. There's mental health days. There's strides being made. We've got a long way to go, but there's strides being made to recognize that mental health is very much a part of our health, and that everyone struggles from time to time, and that's okay. It's not a weakness. You're not doing something wrong if you're depressed or if you're feeling anxiety. It's a part of life, and recognizing that, talking about that, treating that is important. And we all understand that. And we understand that anxiety can affect adults and college students and high schoolers and grade schoolers and down into kids for any number of reasons. And recognizing those things and making accommodations is making us happier. It's making us better people. It's saving lives. It's important. But a subset of mental health is loneliness, but there's still a stigma attached to it. We still talk about it because loneliness seems like it's your fault. Anxiety can be because people are treating you in a certain way and that's causing you anxiety. You can write it off and say, we all struggle with anxiety because look at our politics, look at our job, look at your health insurance, look at all these different things that are cause for anxiety that you can't control. This is an anxiety giving world. But we're also so connected with social media, with video chatting, with all the clubs and schools and baseball teams and everything that's going on. There's no excuse to be lonely. You've got every convenience, every opportunity to connect. You've got no reason to be lonely. And that attitude, that stigma isn't fair. And we're just starting to talk about it. And if you dig at all, if you search the internet, you'll find no shortage of material supporting this, but it's just not quite there yet. And for creatives like myself, and I don't mean people who are creative, but I mean people who work in creative industries. And by that, I mean people who spend a lot of time in front of their computer, whether it's with communications via email or doing production and graphic design or the other things that you need your tools to do. You're spending a lot of time by yourself being creative. And if you don't take the time to nurture those other connections, there can be actual physical consequences for that. And what resonated big in this, aside from we need to normalize this, was that loneliness is a result of the absence of one of three relationships. You can have two of these and still feel lonely, and that's enough. Like that's still loneliness. But the first is an intimate relationship with a partner. And this can be a spouse, a husband, a wife, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a partner of some kind with whom you can have open dialogue and share your passions and your intimacy with. That's important. It doesn't have to be a romantic partner, but a partner. So second is this group of friends, sort of the next degree away, where it's people beyond your partner that you can talk to. Maybe people that you work with, maybe your family, your siblings, your cousins, things like that. Maybe it's a group of friends that you play ultimate frisbee with or something. And then the third is sort of a community beyond that you fit into. And this is often linked to something you identify with an activity. If you're somebody who snowboards, there's people who are snowboarders. If you're somebody who does art or you work in the restaurant industry, any number of things within which you can have an identity that you share with other people and that sense of belonging. You need all three of these things. And you can have a really, really strong relationship with a spouse and a close relationships with your friends and family. But if you don't have that connection to a group, then you can still feel lonely. You can feel like you've got this great thing at home and in the places that you go, but then you still don't feel connected to the community. And vice versa, you can feel a strong connection to the community and you can have a great group of friends around you, but without a partner, you can still feel really lonely. And so there's no shortage of combinations of relationships that you can have, great relationships that still might have you feeling lonely from time to time. And it's not a reflection or a judgment on any of those other relationships. It's just a part of how our bodies work and our brains work. And the book is getting deeper into that, and I'm getting excited as it goes into more and more detail, and I'm excited about what I'm learning. But the biggest thing that I've learned so far, and what I wanted to put something out about, was just that it's okay to feel lonely. And oftentimes artists create, sometimes prompted by loneliness. And I know that when I make these videos, a big part of it is searching for relatability. And there's nothing wrong with admitting that. But when I create something, whether it's a tutorial on how to do something video related, whether it's a reflection on how to run a business or deal with creative stress or loneliness, part of it is I want to put this out there because maybe there's somebody who can connect with that. And I can see that there's more and more people. And the first time back in 2013, 10 years ago, that I posted about having anxiety, the number of comments, I was on Facebook at the time, the number of comments that were like, oh my gosh, me too. And if you ever feel like that, oh, this is the same thing I fear. My dad does it. Like, there's so much community that came from that. And sharing that is sort of a call for that community. And that's rooted in sort of a negative feedback loop for loneliness, and that's okay. And loneliness is a part of life. And even if you've got all three kinds of relationships on lock, you'll still probably feel lonely from time to time, and it's okay. It's not your fault. It's a part of being a human, and it's kind of a beautiful part in some ways. And learning to spend time by yourself without feeling lonely is an important part of knowing how to foster those relationships when you're together with people. So I'm a chapter and a half in. I will share more with you as I learn more, but I wanted to hop on now just to say I feel lonely sometimes, and you probably do too, and it's okay. That's all I got. Have a great day or night or whatever, wherever. See you later. Bye.